Imagine this. An entire ship, every single soul on board, from the captain to the lowest deckhand, even the animals, all dying at the exact same moment. Their eyes wide open, locked in a silent scream, as if they witnessed something no living human could possibly comprehend. No injuries, no signs of struggle, just pure, unadulterated terror etched onto their faces. And then, as if the sea itself wanted to swallow its horrifying secret forever, that ship exploded and vanished beneath the waves in mere seconds. What kind of nightmare could do that to a vessel sailing peacefully? What kind of fear could kill a human being in such an unspeakable way? This, my friend, is the story of the Ourang Medan. Picture this. It's the height of summer in 1947. The air is thick with heat, the ocean is calm, and the Strait of Malacca, in Southeast Asia, is as tranquil and beautiful as any mariner could wish for. Numerous ships are plying their trade, each on its own course, their crews going about their daily routines, dreaming of safe harbor. But in the midst of all this peaceful routine, something utterly horrifying was about to unfold. Suddenly, without warning, radio stations across the globe, in Britain, in the Netherlands, and aboard other ships sailing nearby, all began to pick up the same distress signal. But this wasn't just any SOS. No, this was a cry for help so chilling, it would make your heart clench from the very first word. The voice on the other end was broken, distorted, coming from a great distance, yet it carried an unnerving clarity, almost as if it were echoing from beneath the waves themselves. SOS, we are sinking. All officers, even the captain, dead, perhaps dead. And then, just like that, the voice cut out. Silence. An absolute, deafening silence that hurt the ears, a silence that bred fear. Those listening, huddled over their radios, held their breath. What was happening out there? Seconds stretched into an agonizing eternity. And then, after a few moments that felt like years, the voice returned. This time, it was the sound of a man fighting for his life, his tone saturated with terror and despair, as if he were staring his own end directly in the face. I am standing surrendered. I am dying. And with those final, desperate words, the voice went silent once more. No further signals. No further whispers. Everyone who heard that broadcast, every operator and every captain, felt their minds reel. What was that? What had happened on that ship? And who was this poor soul who had died screaming his last words into the vast, indifferent sky? Immediately, the nearby ships and radio stations began to try and pinpoint the location of this mysterious vessel. Its name, they learned from the signals, was the Ourang Medan, a Dutch freighter. They managed to place it roughly in the Strait of Malacca, a remote area far from any quick rescue. An American ship, the Silver Star, happened to be the closest. Its brave captain, without a second thought, immediately ordered a change of course to investigate. Imagine that, the Silver Star now sailing across the calm sea, but every man on board felt a tightening knot of dread in his stomach. The signal they'd heard, the voice that had died mid-sentence, had cast a pall of anxiety and terror over them all. Each crewman wondered what they would find. Would anyone still be alive? It wasn't long before the crew of the Silver Star spotted her. The Ourang Medan was still afloat, bobbing gently on the surface, but her appearance was strange, unsettlingly strange. She was absolutely still. No movement, no lights, no sound, not even a wisp of smoke from her funnels. She looked like a true ghost ship, waiting. The captain of the Silver Star ordered a small party of his crew to board her and find out what had happened. Now, pay close attention to what happened next, because this is the part no one would ever forget. The moment that boarding party stepped onto the deck of the Ourang Medan, they were struck by a strange, unnatural cold. A chill that wasn't just physical, a cold that made your skin crawl, despite the scorching summer heat. The air around them was eerily quiet, a terrifying silence, like the hush of a tomb. They began to cautiously walk across the deck, searching for anyone, for any sign of life. But there was nothing. And then, they started to find them. Not just one body, but dozens. The entire crew, from the lowest sailor to the highest officer, all dead in their positions, scattered across the deck and throughout the ship. The scene was a nightmare made real. These bodies, every single one of them, were frozen stiff. Their eyes were wide open, dilated, staring blankly, their mouths contorted in silent screams. Their arms were outstretched, fingers splayed forward, as if they had been trying to ward off some unseen, unimaginable horror. The terror etched onto their faces was palpable, an indescribable horror that seemed to radiate from them. But here's the truly bizarre, the most unsettling detail of all. There wasn't a single mark of violence on any of them. No wounds, no blood, no sign of a struggle or injury. It was as if they had simply died from pure, unadulterated fear. Even the ship's dog was found dead, in the same horrifying posture, frozen with terror. Just imagine that for a moment. Even the dog died of the same unspeakable dread. What could they all have possibly seen, in that single, horrifying moment, to die in such a way? This was the question that haunted the crew of the Silver Star as they stood speechless before the horrific scene. The Silver Star crew stood there, utterly bewildered, unable to comprehend anything they were seeing. All their attempts to find an explanation for this terrifying mass death failed. And it was right here, amidst the bodies and the pervasive horror, that a new mystery emerged. A mystery that would be the end of everything, and the beginning of questions that would forever remain unanswered. As they were still trying to process the nightmare unfolding before them, they noticed something else strange. An unfamiliar odor, like sulfur or something similar, began to waft up from the cargo holds below deck. And after the smell, thick, black smoke started to billow out, rising rapidly, as if from the very bowels of the earth. The smoke was increasing in density and speed, confirming that something dangerously wrong was happening deep within the ship. The captain of the Silver Star, seeing the smoke, knew immediately that the situation had become critically dangerous. There was no time to think. He ordered his crew to evacuate the Ourang Medan immediately, before anything worse could happen. The boarding party didn't hesitate. They scrambled off the Ourang Medan at lightning speed, returning to their own vessel, the Silver Star. They were still trying to pull away, only a few meters distant, when it happened. A colossal explosion. An explosion that shook the entire sea, like thunder in the height of summer. The Ourang Medan was ripped apart. It disintegrated into fragments, and within seconds of the blast, she began to sink. She plunged rapidly, as if an invisible hand was pulling her down, desperate to hide her at the bottom of the sea. In mere moments, the ship that carried all these secrets, all these horrifying bodies, all the signs of terror on the faces of its crew, completely vanished into the ocean's depths, as if she had never even existed. The sea closed over her, taking with it all the riddles and mysteries, erasing any trace of her ever being there. There was no significant wreckage, nothing left to indicate that a ship had been there just minutes before. Only a profound silence remained, a silence heavier than any words. And that, my friends, is why this story became a true nightmare, haunting anyone who hears it. A ship appearing from nowhere, sending out a terrifying distress call, every soul on board dying of pure fear, and then exploding and vanishing in seconds, like a phantom that materialized and then dissolved. To this very day, no one has a clear explanation for what happened. What was inside those cargo holds that caused the smoke to rise so quickly? What was that strange smell? And was the explosion somehow connected to those who died of terror? Or was it just a terrible coincidence? All these questions remain unanswered. Of course, with a story this strange and terrifying, many theories have emerged, each attempting to explain the inexplicable. Some people suggest that the ship might have been carrying a secret cargo, perhaps dangerous chemicals, or even toxic nerve gases, being transported illegally. This cargo could have leaked, and the poisonous gases might have killed the entire crew without leaving any visible signs of violence. The terror on their faces, some theorize, could have been a horrific side effect of these gases affecting their nervous systems, causing terrifying hallucinations just before death. After the leak, a chemical reaction, or perhaps someone accidentally triggering something, could have caused the ship to explode and sink so quickly, thus erasing the evidence of the crime. But there's a problem with this theory. Why is there no trace of this cargo in any official maritime records? And why is there even a lack of official records for the ship itself in many registries? It's almost as if she truly was a ghost ship that appeared and vanished. Another theory proposes that the whole incident could be linked to a strange natural phenomenon, like a sudden release of methane gas from the seabed. Large quantities of methane could create powerful vortices or high-pressure waves, causing the crew to lose consciousness and die from shock or lack of oxygen. And since methane is highly flammable, this gas could have later caused the explosion. But again, why did no other ships in the area record any unusual natural phenomena like this? And why the extreme, profound terror on their faces? This was a fear that suggested they had seen something utterly unnatural. And then there are those, my friends, who lean towards the truly mysterious. They suggest that what happened could have been caused by an entirely different kind of force, an incomprehensible power, something non-human. Perhaps a curse, a ghost, an entity from another realm entirely. Something that appeared to the entire crew in a single, terrifying moment, causing them to die from pure, unadulterated fear. And perhaps the explosion was merely a way for this force to erase any trace of its presence. But, of course, these are theories without any scientific basis, mere imaginings of the unknown. To this day, the story of the Ourang Medan remains one of the strangest and most terrifying maritime mysteries without explanation. All we know is that one day, a ship sent out a terrifying distress call. Every soul on board died of fear, and then she exploded and sank, taking all her secrets to the dark seabed. It's as if the ocean itself decided to hide the truth, ensuring this nightmare continues to haunt us every time we remember it. What was the secret hidden in the depths of the Ourang Medan? And what exactly did that crew see in their final moments to die with such terror? That is a question that will forever remain unanswered, a door that remains closed. And trust me, you don't want to open that closed door, because you can't imagine what's behind it.